Namaste. Warm welcome to all of you for today's session. In the last session, we have learned about the objectives of yoga, chitta and its components, soul and its bodies, work function of all these components. Today, we are going to understand about Ojas, Tejas, Retas, thought waves more importantly, and Pranas and Upapranas. Before we move on to the today's session, let us understand little bit about Ayurveda, because yogi must know little bit about Ayurveda. Ayurveda is an ancient medicinal system which works on three components, that is Vata means space and air, which governs the movement, Pitta, that is fire and water, which regulates metabolism, and Kapha, this is a component of earth and water, which manages the assimilation in the body. Managing the physical body is very essential for a yogi, because a person which has some diseases or suffering with some illness cannot succeed in yoga because of his physical ailments. In the ancient days, Ayurveda was one of the subject which yogi has to know and learn about to keep his body healthy. At the same time, ancient Ayurvedic medicinal practitioners would also know little bit of yoga, because when they give a treatment to patients, they would study Vata, Pitta and Kapha, which in turn acts in measuring the strength of Ojas, Tejas and Retas. In turn, these are the essential things to keep prana alive. Balancing Vata, Pitta and Kapha is to maintain the basic hygiene and the factors of physical body. When I am talking to you on Ayurveda, I must say one of the incidents which has happened in my own life. I met with a serious accident in the year 2001 where head injury was very severe. My forehead got fractured and doctors have conducted a cranioplasty surgery to me. After a year or so, the forehead portion got infected, for which I was taking antibiotics which was prescribed by the doctors. But then infection was never under control. Every week, doctors used to change the antibiotics. Like this, I would have taken some 5 to 6 varieties of antibiotics which are high in dosage. Even after that, my forehead infection had never come down. At the same time, doctors came to know that no antibiotics will work for me because the infection was so severe. Those days, there were about some 20 to 25 antibiotics which were available in the market, including the third generation. None of the antibiotics used to work on me to stop the infection. At this time, doctors decided to operate once again with the cranioplasty surgery and clean the infection. But at the same time, they were worried. They open and clean the infection because none of the antibiotics works on me. What if the wound takes another infection? This was a critical case. Then I happened to come across with one of my doctor who was practicing Ayurveda. I happened to take a course of Panchakarma, that is a treatment of 5 days in Ayurveda system. I have successfully completed the treatment of Ayurveda. After 6th day, I happened to give my blood sample to the laboratory to test for the sensitivity with the antibiotics. It was a wonderful thing. Earlier, none of the antibiotics used to work for my infection. After the Ayurveda Panchakarma treatment, except for 2 or 3 antibiotics, every antibiotics started working against the infection what I had. This is a small example I'm talking to you in Ayurveda. Important thing in Ayurveda is it works not on the diseased part or portion of the body, it works from the root level. That means it keeps all your parameters, vata, pitta, and kapha, in a normal condition. A good Ayurvedic doctor would always see the patients from the perspective of his life force. That means Ojas, Tejas, and Retas, its strengths and how it is working, and he could treat accordingly basis the deficiencies in these factors. Now let us understand how this science works and the relation between this and yoga, and why it is also required for a yogi. Let us understand about Ojas. Ojas is responsible for immunity. This plays a vital role in the body. In this, there are two types. Para Ojas. This resides in heart. This is very important. There is another Apara Ojas. This resides and keeps moving across the body. Let us understand about Tejas. Tejas is responsible for heat and light. This you can treat this as a subset of Agni, acid, Pitta. Acid comes out of the liver, that is also called as bile juice. For your knowledge's sake, you can just consider Tejas is the subtle form of Agni, that is Jataragni. Now let us understand Prana. Prana is also called as life force. If there is Prana, human is living. If there is no Prana, it's just a dead body. Prana gives the energy and strength that comes from Ojas passing through Tejas. I would still elaborate. Thus, Ojas can take the form of Teja, that is heat. Ojas can take the form of heat, which has the capacity to turn into Prana, that is electricity. If there are any higher senses in our physical body, which is more and something to do with electricity, something like body senses, if there is a itching or disturbance on the skin or some injury to any part of the body, first it will immediately within few milliseconds hit that hits the brain, that passes through electrical waves within the body. Prana also takes this form as and when it is required for the body. Again, in depth, Prana is also the subtle form of Vata, which can be defined as life force, breath of life. It is responsible for vitality and energy, responsible for respiration, digestion, and circulation, and also excretion. That means it is playing all vital roles in the physical body of a living animal. If there is no breath, the animal will die. If there is no blood circulation, it will die. If there is no digestion, energy, there will not be energy to take breathe. Then also animal dies. Then excretion, if the body toxins are not getting excreted from the body because of the excess of the toxins, then also the animal will die. So that means to say, Prana plays a vital and major role in everybody's life. Let us understand how thought waves in a human influences the harmony of Ojas, Tejas, and Prana. There are two types of thought waves which arises in every human. One is good thought waves, the other one is bad thought waves. Good thought waves, something like be merciful, be empathetic, have belief and trust, have devotion, that is bhakti. These are all good thought waves, which keeps the harmony of Ojas, Tejas and Prana in a well-balanced manner. Now, there are bad thought waves. Let us understand how these bad thought waves behave on a human body and mind. First one is the lust. Human body secretes semens as and when the man gets the feel of having sex or lust. These semens are produced by consuming the energy which is called as Theus. Theus is responsible for this energy. As and when the energy of Theus is consumed, it affects on the intensity of Ojas. If the intensity of the Ojas comes down, the prana, that means the life force, loses its energy levels. This affects in a bad manner on a body and mind of a human being. Next one is addiction. This is also a bad thought wave. Addiction affects the neurons of the brain, that means the movement of neurons and the health of the neurons. With the more and more addiction, the body toxin level goes up. That puts the extra pressure or the load on prana and ojas to get it cleared out of the body. That means the prana and ojas working very hard. The harmony of prana, ojas and tejas is working very hard to flush the toxins out of the body. Also, because of the heavy addiction, your brain neurons will die. Prana and neurons are the eternal forms of electricity which produces in the body. When their intensity goes down, obviously this thought wave, that is addiction, influences very badly mind and body of a person. Next one is anger. Every time man gets angry, there are so many number of neurons which dies in the human brain. Also, the bile secretion in the liver goes up when a man gets angry. Pitta goes up. These two influences very badly on tejas, ojas and prana. So again, here there is a loss of electricity which are very vital for a yogi in his yogic practices. Next one is affection. Affection comes, of course, with some of the joyful moments for a physical body, but it really hurts and puts extra load on other functions of the mental body. It puts extra load on neurons as well as prana. As and when the affection goes up, that leads to attachment. As and when a man gets caught hold of attachment, he will lose focus on yogic practices. Instead, he will get more involved with other duties and responsibilities rather than his yogic needs. Then comes his ego. Ego and anger, I would say, brothers and sisters to each other. A person, a human being who has got an ego will carry equal amount of anger with him. For every small things, he will get angry, and which in turn again results into the death of neurons and excess bile juice secretion in the body. This leads to the lower energy levels to prana. To add to this, enmity is again one of the bad thing which a man will suffer by thinking and talking about his enemy as long as he lives. This was, of course, not required for any human being because so-called enemy is also a human being. He will also be thinking in a same language. But whatever may be the reason, together are going to hinder the yogi from his practices. The next one is greed. Greed is a essentially unwanted stuff for any humans because anybody who has got for his requirement to live, anything excess to that is greed. If you are having food, shelter and clothes to live, anything more than that is considered to be a greed in a yogic language. Most of the yogis do not even think of their today's food, forget tomorrow, today's food. This is how the yogic thinking, which downsizes the expectations in material world. So, in a nutshell, good thought waves boosts the life force, that is prana, but the bad thought waves brings down the life force, the intensity of the life force, that is again prana. Prana is the life force located at chest region. This mainly controls the functions of lungs, then blood circulation, breathing, swallowing, etc., which are very many required activities for a physical body to live. So this is the first prana, which is located at the chest. Then the second prana is called apana, which is located near the root chakra. I will talk about chakra sometime later. Let us understand that it is located at the root level of human spinal cord. The main functions of this apana is functions which happens at the kidneys, bladders, bowels and excretory and reproductive organs. All unwanted toxins and materials in the body has to be flushed out, and the responsibility of this activity is from the apana. It is also responsible for the expulsion of gas, wind, facets, urine, semen and ova. It nourishes the fetus and expels it from the uterus at the time of birth. Now let us understand the third prana, that is samana. Samana activates and maintains the digestive organs and their secretions. When I say secretions, for the digestion, bile juice should get secreted from the liver, and it is responsible for metabolism. For that, secretion of insulin is required, and it is associated with digestive bile are called as agni, that is jataragni, the fire which is required for the digestion. Next prana is udana. It is responsible for all sensory organs and the organs of action. This coordinates and controls the movements of legs, arms and neck, and directs the activities of the brain and sensory organs that are situated in the head region. Eyes, vision, ears, hearing, tongue, taste, nose, smell, skin, and the tingling sensation, whatever, all this are the organs of action controlled by udana. Also, the other actions are tingling or sensory actions at hands, feet and speech. This is located at the Kanta chakra, that means at the throat place. Next prana is Vana. It is located at the in and around the Swadhisthana chakra, just about the root chakra. It helps all the other pranas when they require an extra boost. That means to say, when one over exerts and feels extremely tired, rush of energy comes which enables one to continue. It also regulates and coordinates all the muscular movements, and it helps in sending impulses to different parts of the body. Also causes the flow of perspiration and goose flesh. So this prana predominantly behaves and acts as the energy point for a physical body. Now let us understand Upapranas. Naga is a Upaprana located at the just above the stomach. This is the cause of belching and hiccups. When the air element is agitated, Naga becomes active and tries to throw the agitated air out of the stomach, causing vibrations in Udana, Prana, and Samana. It remains inactive as long as the diet and digestion are healthy. In the state of meditation, it does not function. So, this prana, so called naga, will actively working during the physical body is in an active position, but not in a meditative position. Let us understand the next upaprana, that is kurma. This is located at the eye region. This is the cause of blinking of the eyes and the secretions of the eyes. You would have noticed there are some secretions in the eyes at the time that you are about to sleep or you are getting sleep or something. And that is how it keeps the eyes moist and protected and healthy. It enables one to see all objects. Eyes are very important and vital organs for a human to have a healthy life. The eyes shine due to the energy of kurma, and one appears impressive when it's under control. The yogi can keep the eyes open for hours, performing trataka, gazing in one point. Although kurma operates in a small area, it has lot of force and actions during the meditation. It makes the concentration firm and deep. Next upaprana, krikara. This is located between heart and throat chakra. I would say that the midpoint of the esophagus and just above the esophagus. This is the cause of yawning, hunger and thirst, and assists in respiration. Due to its relation with yawning, its origin is sloth and lethargy. When it is controlled with practice, sloth and sleep overcome. Hunger and thirst are controlled, which are very important for a yogi. And sweat secretions begin to flow in the mouth. The control of krikara is especially helpful during fasting and samadhi, because one should not come across with the need of a food related desires during samadhi and yoga practice. And the last one is Dhananjaya. It pervades the whole body and it is related to the organ of touch. This is predominantly located in the heart. This controls the functions of all arteries, arts, all the muscle systems in the heart. It influences the work of muscles, arteries, and veins and the skin. The swelling experienced during an injury is due to the motion of Dhananjaya. During a tamasic state, it reinforces sloth in the body. It is the last prana to leave the physical body after the death, and it is responsible for decomposition of the body. You all know, subtle body, that is Sukshma Sharira, is also called by the name Pranamaya Kosha. That means the owner of this body is Prana. If this Prana goes away from the physical body, that means the subtle body goes out of physical body, then the man is declared as dead. As long as Prana or life force is available within the physical body, the man is alive. Otherwise, he is dead. At the time of death, Pranamaya Kosha, that is subtle body which has prana, carries soul and its bodies and leaves behind physical body in the first stage. In the next stage, soul and its bodies leave behind subtle body, that is Pranamaya Kosha, and move forward. Here, if the soul is seedless, without any samskaras or memories, that will go for salvation. If the soul is with seed, carrying so many samskaras and memories that will go for rebirth. This is the process which happens after the death of a person. A yogi would continuously play with his prana or life force. That is the reason knowledge about prana or life force is very essential and important for a yogi. Lower level of prana shakti, that is life force, leads to continuous unhealthy situation and creates mental and physical ailments for an ordinary person. You can compare prana shakti or life force with a battery. Because of bad waves with normal people, they consume more prana shakti or more life force because of the bad thought waves. But in case of yogi, he always creates a good thought waves within himself, and that is how he preserves the strength of prana shakti or life force and uses it for his yoga practice. I will explain you how a yogi uses his life force prana shakti during his yoga sadhana. Among the common people, lower levels of prana shakti leads to lack of immune power in the body. Body would have been cold in nature. A man experiences a lot of tiredness during his day-to-day activities and he falls sick quite often. These are the symptoms of lower prana shakti, that is lower life force. But yogi preserves it. Takeaways from today's session only for we yoga have purpose. Learned little bit about Ayurveda and why the knowledge of Ayurveda is required for a yogi. We have learned about Ojas, Tejas and Retas and how it is related to prana. We have learned different types of pranas and their functions. We have learned about thought waves and how they affect yogi, any normal person. We have understood how physical body separates from subtle or sukshma sharira, subtle body, and how soul and its body separate from subtle body, that is sukshma sharira, and finally how soul gets another birth, achieves salvation. We thank you, all of you, for this session. We shall catch up in the next episode with yet another wonderful topic. Shubhamastu.